I want you to imagine everything you know, every single thing, every fact, every piece of knowledge, every technique, everything you could possibly know. Okay? We're going to describe everything you know as stuff inside a circle. Okay? None of us claims to know every single thing in the universe. None of us claims to have an infinite knowledge, right? So we're going to decide that the stuff we know fits inside of a circle. Okay? Well, that means by definition, the stuff we don't know extends out infinitely outside of the circle, right? There's an infinite amount of space outside of the stuff we know, right? Okay, so at some point in everyone's journey, calculus is outside of the stuff you know. Trigonometry is outside of the stuff you know. Algebra, geometry, any mathematical process is outside of the stuff you're born knowing. So the only way to expand your circle, expand the things you know, is to try to reach outside of your circle, okay? And in your first attempt, your first reach, you can't get trigonometry right. You can't get practice questions right your first time because you've never done it before, right? How could you do something that you've never done before correctly the first time? If you did it right the first time, then you would have already known it. Okay? So, the only way we can learn things is by trying to extend our circle. And each time we try to extend our circle, we have to get something wrong first. And then we have to learn from those mistakes. From those mistakes, we're able to extend a little further. And then we have to get things wrong again. And then a little bit further. Now we know a little bit more about how we can do these things. And now we know a little bit more. And eventually, you bring something like trigonometry or calculus or whatever it is you're trying to learn inside that circle of knowledge. It's no longer a circle anymore, but it's inside the finite space of things you know. So the way you may have learned math in the past is you have practice questions, you have quiz questions, you have test questions, and these are questions that assess your ability to do something that you hadn't done before, right? If you get these questions wrong, your grade in the class goes down, and then that creates its own sort of stress and anxiety, and it creates its own sort of like self-fulfilling prophecy loop. We're told, oh, we're not good at math. Therefore, when we approach the next thing in math, we already have it in our brain that we're bad at it, right? So what's the point in trying if we know we're bad at something? I want you to give yourself permission to not know math, okay? If we don't know math, or we're not expecting ourselves to know something, then we're free to make mistakes. When we're free to make mistakes, we're free to learn. So this is how we're going to approach everything we learn in math together, whether it's math, science, physics, chemistry, any specific subject in math. We're all going to treat it the same way because it's not the trigonometry itself that's important. It's not the calculus itself that is important. What we should be practicing learning, the thing that's important to learn, is learning how to reach outside, to reach into something that is unknown. Having the confidence and the ability and the freedom to make a mistake and then learn from that mistake. There's no other way for the human mind to learn something other than making a mistake, seeing what we did incorrectly, and then doing it right the next time. There's no other way. That's how the human brain is designed. That's how we learn. So it's not the math itself. It's not the trig itself. It's not the calculus itself. But it's this process of reaching, getting something wrong, and learning from that mistake. In the process, you're going to learn how to do trig, or learn how to do calculus, or learn how to do statistics, or algebra, or geometry, or whatever it is we want to learn. But the more important skill, the lifelong skill, and the skill that is applicable to anything beyond math, is that ability to try, make a mistake, and learn from it. My name is Buddy. I want to teach you math. I want to teach you math in a new way. Even if you're someone who considers yourself not good at math, even if you're someone who considers that you hate math, those are your past experiences with math, or those are your past experiences with science, or whatever it is. But those are your past experiences with math. And I want us to put those aside for the moment. And I want us to give ourselves the freedom to start from square one, to relearn these things. But because we're relearning how to learn is really what we're doing. And when we give ourselves the freedom to start from square one, we're not expected to know the answer yet, right? It's okay that we're making mistakes. That's the only way we can learn. I hope you'll follow along with me and we'll discover a new way of learning math.